Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai Ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this year is part of the celebrations of 150-year birthday of Swami Vivekananda. So it started from this year, it's going on, and we have picked up the early opportunity. We recently had an international conference in Bay Area, and the conference was on the occasion of 10 years of Yoga Bharati organization in this country, and also 150 years of Swami Vivekananda birthday. And also we wanted to showcase yoga as a evidence-based science rather than a faith or personality-based program, because everywhere that you come across that people talking about yoga is personality-based, like Bikram yoga, Iyengar yoga. I mean, some of these people, they call it even as anger yoga, can't call it pronounced properly. So all that kind of thing was said, it doesn't have to be a personality based, it's a science. Like you don't have in chemistry or physics like Newton's physics only or Linus Pauling chemistry. It's a universal. The same way yoga also has to be made universal, so evidence based yoga. So now when we say evidence based yoga, then it must be whether it is Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, all these things have to be with scientific, rational, understood by anywhere, anybody in the world. So that way when we take it, it is important. The text may be original Sanskrit, and some of these quotations maybe we have to use Rama, we have to use Vasishtha and all those things, but the science must be something which is universal. And our people, when they have written also, they have written like that. They have written not like a cult, not like a particular, only belong to a particular group of people, but it is something which is applicable to everybody. So in that way that we were trying to present, the main theme for that conference that we had was Bhakti Yoga. The very first keynote address was based on the Bhakti Yoga. Recently, I also had a discussion in MD Anderson Cancer Research Institute in Texas, where we are now planning to have the lung cancers and how Bhakti Yoga can take care of it. So that means, and these are all absolutely non-Indian, they don't have anything to do with India. They are patients, cancer patients. So we would like to do the study on them. So the idea is to bring about that logical and rational kind of approach towards bhakti. It's so easy to bring about that kind of a concept if you are doing some asanas or practices like that. To some degree about pranayama also, you don't have to bring about the culture aspect of it. But particularly when you are doing bhakti yoga, how can it be rational? How can it be scientific that way? Often people have that question. So bhakti yoga, we were able to present it, we were able to give it. Not only that, we are able to take this concept of bhakti yoga into Turkey, into Germany, into German hospital and all those things to the patient. So naturally, this is something which is rational. So that's why when Vishwa suggested we should have Bhakti Yoga, Narada Bhakti Sutras, I readily agreed for that. So, but then we have 3 days, 88 sutras or 82 sutras that are there, just impossible. But so, in Vedanta, there is a very important way that Upanishads present the concept of Brahman, and that is Brahma Parichaya, Brahmabhyasa, Brahmanishta. That means to say, what is about Brahman, what is it? And then second thing is Brahma Abhyasa, what is the practice of going towards Brahma? That's what we call it as sadhana. And then Brahma Parichaya. That means to say, what happens when somebody is in that stage. Like the way that in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives the idea, one who is established in the prajna, what is he like? Sthita prajna. So like that, these are the three different components in which basically the Upanishads discuss about the Adhyatma sadhana, the spiritual sadhana. So I thought these 3 days that we will have this way, that Bhakti Parichaya, Bhakti Abhyasa and Bhakti Nishtha. These are the three components that I would like to bring about. And Narada Bhakti Sutras become the basis for that. So that's how I thought. Before we go to the sutras, then I thought another important aspect is that the bhakti is a very important technique of yoga, most important aspect of yoga, as far as I feel that way. Why bhakti becomes such an important thing, much more than any other texts of yoga, other parts of yoga. The goal is the same, whether you take Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, the goal is the same. One is that peace of mind. In fact, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna puts it so beautifully that you may have anything in life, but if you don't have peace of mind, all that is useless. You may not have anything in life, but if you have peace of mind, there is nothing which is more important than that. So, Ashantasya kutas sukham. You might have everything, but then if there is no Shanti, there is no Sukha. So, now Ashanti, Krishna, I don't know with what idea that he said, but then today we see that Ashanti percolates into our system in the form of stress and tension and all those things. So, we end up having all kinds of problems once that Ashanti is there. In fact, so much that we trace those things to the sickness these days, that in Baylor Medical Center, they have done a research in Texas, Baylor Medical Center. They said 90 to 95% of our ailments directly or indirectly connected with this inner restlessness called stress. So, Ashanti is the cause for all these problems. And so, now, Shanti is a purpose goal of life. That's why not only the goal of life according to yoga, but the goal of life in this culture. That's why we see that how many times that we say, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Somebody came to Prashanti, our residential campus, said that this peace, I might have heard at least 25 to 30 times every day after coming to Prashanti. Probably in my lifetime I never heard so many times. So it is such a deep concept that we had in our culture. So in fact, the History Channel, when she was presenting the idea about the Indian freedom struggle, said it's the only country, the first country which started showing to the world that with the peace we can win the freedom of the country. That was the kind of message that we could give. Goal of yoga itself is the peace of mind, tranquility. And asana, pranayama, all these things are essentially to take us that way in Raja Yoga. And then Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, all these things are supposed to take us to the peace of mind. The same way, the goal of Bhakti Yoga also is the peace of mind. It's not all other things. Finding God and all that, they are secondary. But peace of mind is the primary. That is what is the goal. And there's one more aspect that is there, peace of mind. Not only peace of mind, but it's not born out of dissatisfaction. Many times people are peaceful, being defeated. Say, nothing else to be done, so let me be peaceful. I mean, there is a element of complaint behind it. Whereas, here always peace of mind along with the trupti concept, the simple sense of satisfaction. Both these things have to be there. In fact, a peace of mind where there is no satisfaction, it's not really true peace of mind. It's just only convenient peace of mind, that's all. So can we have peace of mind where we're also having that sense of satisfaction? And bhakti can give that kind of a peace of mind is one idea. Why Bhakti Yoga becomes so important? You can see that in Bhagavad Gita is a text which talks about all various aspects of yoga. Krishna is explaining to Arjuna about this yoga, this, that and all those things. And suddenly Arjuna looks confused. After all, poor fellow, what can Arjuna do? Krishna is a brilliant guy, Gujarati Krishna. And then Haryanvi Arjuna, so naturally he's confused. And he looks at Krishna confused. And Krishna, don't worry about it, you surrender to me, I take care. Aham tva sarva papebhya mokshayishyam ma shucha. He says, forget about all those things, you just do it. Anything that you offer, palam pushpam patram toyam, anything, even a floweral leaf you give it, that's okay, fine. Like that, it looks as if bhakti seemed to be a easy solution wherever there is complexity that is there. So, Gita seemed to be suggesting us that Bhakti Yoga is the most important. Similarly, after the 11th chapter, that means to say the Vishwarupa Sandarshana, the main chapter, you see immediately what follows is Bhakti. So, Bhakti seemed to be a very spontaneous response from Arjuna. That's why Bhakti Yoga is the next one that follows. Similar, another thing is, Bhakti is an important technique because the great stalwart intellect like Shankaracharya goes around the whole country arguing about the Advaita philosophy and this and that, and he says, Kevalam jnana matram, only jnana, jnana karma samuchyam, nothing else has to be diluted, jnana to be diluted by anything else. Pure jnana can take us. Like that Shankara keeps on telling everywhere, but he himself, when he went to Kashi, he went to Annapuran temple, he says, Mata Annapurneshwari bhikshandehi kripavalampada kare. Najanami mantram, najanami tantram, najanami yogam, nothing I don't know anything. Gatistam tvameka bhavan, you are everything. I mean, if Shankara has to say that I don't know anything, who are we? To claim that we know. So, it looks like that all that jnana he has, and mountain, Everest of jnana, bhakti seemed to be like a nice, wonderful full moon above on the sky. So it's like soaring high. Similarly, like that, we have another example. Nityananda Mahaprabhu, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, supposed to be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was also absolutely blazing intellect. He was such a strong intellect that he would go to he also went around the whole country. He was around in the 13th century to 14th century, he was there. And then he went around the whole country, and then wherever he would go, he would argue with the people, present the ideas of Advaita, it's a philosophy. He was from, Nadia district, which is supposed to be intellectual hub of India, those days. And then he would defeat all the Pandits there. And it was like this, that when he is going to any village, any town, any place, that the moment that people come to know that he is going there, the Pandits there would run away from there. In fact, one of the instances is that he happened to go to Tanjore. In South India, Tanjore is supposed to be a very intellectual place. And the moment he went there, all the Pandits of Tanjore, they left that place. They ran away from there. Because it's difficult to defeat him. Such a person, absolutely blazing intellect, he happened to go to a most illiterate place in India. That's what is Odisha. And Odisha also, a place which is very small, away from Puri Jagannath, and that place is called as Badipada, which is hardly there's any education in that place, and then it's a poor place. And then he happened to go there, and he saw that people are happy, jumping with joy, and then playing nicely, there's so much of smile on their face and all that. And he saw, with all the knowledge, I don't have that smile, I don't have that happiness, and these people have it. And he just felt really shocked looking at them. And they don't even have anything. And then they're very happy. What gave them that happiness, he's tried to understand about that. After all, he's a very intelligent person and sincere person. The moment he saw that it is the simple innocence, bhakti, He gave up all the intellect and he took up now a mantra. And that mantra that he took up, which is the most famous mantra, we all know about it. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. That's all. And then from then and he started dancing with them. He started feeling the beauty of it. And then he went from there onwards. And earlier, when he was going to any place, people would run away from there. Whereas now, when he goes to any place dancing with this mantra, Hare Rama, people would follow him. That was a total transformation. Not only ordinary people, actually from Odisha, when he was going to Calcutta, Bengal, he had to go through the forest, and the story is that there were a couple of very, very dangerous dacoits who were there. And they also said that, don't go this way because the dacoits are there. He said, if the God willing, that nothing will happen to me. And then he went there, and these dacoits have become his first disciples. So this transformation has taken place. That means to say, Pandits would run away, but the moment he has taken bhakti, even the dacoits followed him. That transformation has occurred. So bhakti seemed to be an extraordinary technique. And also in this culture, when you look at it from the length and breadth of the country of India, that all this culture which survived for 10,000 years, it's not carried so much by some jnanis, yogis. You can count a few yogis and jnanis like Shankara, Namdev, Jnaneshwar. Couple of them you can count. Whereas the moment that you come to the bhaktas, look at the way, how many number of bhaktas that are there in this culture. So that shows bhakti seemed to be an extraordinary technique. And often people say that bhakti is a later movement. This is what the Indologists talk about. I always have a problem with these Indologists because that they create all kinds of wrong notions about it. Earliest of the Upanishads, which is about 7,000-8,000 year old, Ishavasya Upanishad, starts with the first shloka, Isavasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena punjita magrita kasya svidharam. The whole shloka and then whatever followed is basically indication of a bhakti, because you can never feel God intellectually. You can feel from heart. And that's what the Rishi is sharing his own experience with you, saying that Isha Achadaniyam. It's nothing but God. Everything belongs to the God. And that's how basically an Upanishad teacher has to suggest you. He must be having that experience. So, Bhakti experience is there right from the earliest times. And we know that Ramayana is full of Bhakti. Bhagavatam is full of Bhakti. Only thing is, Narada wrote the treatise much later. That's what people say. It's okay. Because essentially, to write formula for bhakti is something which is important. It's impossible. Like the way that somebody asking you to give a formula for the beauty of a rose. What formula can be written about the beauty of the rose? Or write a formula about Shakespeare's sonnet. We cannot write any formula because this is something which is like a flow that comes. So bhakti is also like that. It's emotions, and then you cannot write any formula for that. And somebody who has put that into the format of a formula, sutra, that's exactly what Narada did. Commendable work. It's so easy to write sutras on Brahma Sutras, that's what Badarayana has written. Or some other sutras like Patanjali has given us the Yoga Sutras. That's okay. But to write sutras on bhakti is just impossible. Because on the aspect of love or compassion, how can you write anything like the sutras? In fact, the whole idea of sutra is very unique in this Indian philosophy. It follows a thread. See, one after the other they follow the order and logically developed, but at the same time, the sutra is something which is like the way that the tradition has explained about sutra. Sutra is the thread that is there inside the flower garland that you make. You don't see the thread, you only see the flowers on top of it. But the flowers themselves do not stay. It's actually the sutra makes the flower to stay there. and the sutra itself is not visible. That's why sutras are something which is there in the background, but then the flowers can be there, and you can keep on changing the flowers. Different flowers at different times and all those things. Fresh flowers come. So like that, the sutra is there in the background, and then the explanations came different ways. Like for example, Mirabai's Bhakti, if you look at it, the Mirabai's Bhakti, what you see is there, it is the flowers that are there outside. The same way that you look at Narsi Mehta's Bhakti, you can see like the flowers that are there outside. Or you look at the garland of Tyagaraja's Kritis that you think of it, it's like the nice wonderful garland that's there outside. But when you really go into the depth of what is that which is made them to create all those things, it is supposed to be the Bhakti Sutra that is there. It's like a thread that's behind. So Narada has given the explanation of that particular thread which is there in the background. It's impossible to write, and that's what he did. 88 sutras are there, and another thing is that in the sutras that they explain everything. Like they don't leave you guessing for something or the other. It's very clear. Now explanations can be goes on giving one after the other words and all those things, but you can build explanation on that. Like for example, Patanjali Yoga Sutras. He gives the sutras. Sutras make a sense, and then without spoiling the sense of the sutra, you can explain, you can give the commentary, you can embellish the whole thing so that it can look very nice. So like that, each of these sutras that we need to give interpretations. Like that's what is the beauty of the whole scripture of sutra, the traditional sutra. There's something like about 3,000-4,000 years ago, somebody might have given the explanation about these sutras, and then later on, 1,000 years ago, somebody has given. 500 years ago, somebody has given. Chinmayananda has given. And I give, so that after that somebody else will give. But then what happens is that we try to give the whole embellishment which can appeal to the audience at that time. Chinmayananda, when he gave, it was those audience they were helped by. But before that, actually there's one Poddar who has given one of the early Narada Bhakti Sutras commentaries, and then that was wonderful at that time. So like that, the commentary can be anything. You can add so many things, you can give so many ideas, but then we should not miss the thread. That's one aspect of it. Another important aspect is that any of these sutras we need to look at from the point of view of experience. This is the basis of the whole of Indian philosophy. Anubhav Miti Shastra. It is something based on your experience. Like for example, if Upanishad is talking about happiness, it's there in our experience. And in fact, while talking about the discussion about Upanishad, Upanishad takes up this question about happiness. Upanishad says, what happiness Upanishad is talking about is, like in Taittiriya Upanishad, the discussion goes on. Now let us talk about Ananda. This Anandavalli, so let us discuss about Ananda. Immediately, what is the Ananda he is talking about? Shankara takes the Purva Paksha, takes up that question. What is the kind of Ananda Upanishad is talking about? Often people think that Upanishad talks about Ananda must be something which is extraordinary, and what we have experienced about Ananda is ordinary. Like, I have a cup of coffee, then I get nice wonderful Ananda. Or nice music to hear, then I get Ananda. So this is what is the Ananda my experience is. Whereas Upanishad may not be talking about this. But Shankara takes up the Purva Paksha question and says that Upanishad cannot talk about an Ananda which is not there in your experience. Kimananda Samimamsyam, and then it is Vishaya Vishayi Samparka Janita Anandaha Ahosvitu Swabhavikaha. Swabhavika Ananda, that means to say it's a natural, simple state of Ananda. That is the only Upanishad is discussing about. Similarly, if the Bhakti Sutras are talking about Bhakti, and then about the experience of Bhakti, maybe he is talking about the experience of Bhakti of Tyagaraja, Bhakti of Ramdas, or Bhakti of this person, that person. May not be talking about the experience of us in the daily life. This is where very important thing is that it talks about the experience, whatever that is there in our day-to-day life. It's connected with the day-to-day life. So in that sense, I would feel that if I take up this Narada Bhakti Sutras, various elements that are there, and if I explain about these sutras, which are connected, which I can bring about the daily, day-to-day examples, then only I think I will be really communicating to you. But then there is another important aspect of it. That is that these experiences are something you cannot put it in terms of words. Like for example, in fact Narada at one place brings about that concept so beautifully. Even small little simple thing that you look at the beauty of the rose, you say, oh, that rose, have you seen the rose in Shobha's house? It's beautiful. You said, come on, can you explain about that? What can you explain? You can't even explain it. It's something that you can feel it. Bhakti deals with the feeling. So, when we need to really understand about this particular feeling in the Bhakti, it has to go through with examples. In fact, that's what Narada also suggests, that it is through the examples that you can feel that. So, we need to bring about the examples from the day-to-day life to understand what he is talking about, what he is telling about. Now, when we come to the question of experience, again, it's not that, you look at the beautiful rose and then you say, rose is beautiful. Or you look at the nice, wonderful sunrise. Wow, the sunrise is beautiful. It doesn't belong to, like a Hindu sunrise is different from a Muslim sunrise. A young sunrise is different from an old sunrise. Or a rich sunrise is different from a poor sunrise. It's one and the same thing. So can we rise above all these levels and try to look at this experience as the basis for this whole Bhakti Sutra? So that means to say the Bhakti Sutra that is given, it has to transcend the concept of religion, concept of all the caste, creed, this and that and all that. Then only it can really approach a mankind. So that's how essentially that we look into this Narada Bhakti Sutras. So let me just, you all have this Narada Bhakti Sutras, the printout. And I was happy yesterday when Vishwa said, I read the sutras, it didn't make sense, it should have explanation. I said, so I have a place now. Otherwise I was just wondering. Because Narada Bhakti Sutras, of all the sutras, the simplest text is Narada Bhakti Sutra. In fact, Brahma Sutra Badrayana, absolutely difficult to get into it. And Patanjali Yoga Sutras, first chapter is okay. By the time you come to the second chapter, you are already into confusion. In that sense, Narada Bhakti Sutra is very simple. But here also, that there are certain things which will make the explanations beautiful. So that portion I will take it up. So starting from the Narada Bhakti Sutra, the first sutra says, Athato Bhaktim Vyakhyāsyāmah. Now, Athato, that means to say, actually the translation is, now therefore we shall Vyakhya, do the Vyakhya of Bhakti. Athato Bhaktim Vyakhya. Now, if a text starts with an idea of Athato, that means to say, now therefore we start Bhakti. It looks like that you have already said something, now therefore, looks like that. It's already from previous. That's why some of the Western authors, they have deliberately written that so many texts were lost. So what we have is the small text, like, that's why this later text we have, earlier texts are lost. It's not like that. Because not only this one, even Patanjali Yoga Sutra also starts with Atha Yoga Anushasana. And Athato Brahma Jignasa is the way that Brahma Sutras also start with. Then second thing is, now Athato Bhaktim Vyakhyāsyāmah. Whatever the reason he says that now therefore let us start with Bhakti, then he doesn't want to leave you guessing about this Bhakti. So immediately gives the translation. He gives the next sutra, the definition of Bhakti. That is, Satvasmin Parama Prema Rupaha. Now he goes further to explain about various qualities of that, various aspects of that, Amrita Swarupacha. Yallabdha puman stabdo bhavati, siddho bhavati, amrito bhavati, trupto bhavati. Yat prapya nakinchid vanchati, nashochati, naramate, navutsahi bhavati. Yajñatva matto bhavati, and Yajñatva matto bhavati, stabdo bhavati, atmaramo bhavati. Now, when you look at these three sutras, they look very similar. First one is Yalabdha puman siddho bhavati. The moment that labdva, when he gets it, when he attains it, and at that particular point, man becomes perfect and immortal, and he is fully satisfied. Trupto bhavati, amrito bhavati, trupto bhavati. Then, yat prapya nakinchit vanchati. When he attains it, then he does not desire for anything else. Nakinchit vanchati, nashochati. There is no remorse, neither grieves. Naramate navutsahi bhavati. He does not hate, he does not get entangled or sensual pleasure, and man does not feel any urge. And like that, these are the three sutras that are there. Nakamaya manaha, sa nakamaya manaha, nirodharupatvat. It is of the nature of nirodha. It's in the form of nirodha, which means basically there are no desires in that. And nirodhastu sakala loka veda vyapara nyasaha. He describes about that nirodha. So let us look into these particular sutras. If time permits, let's go further. First of all, athato bhaktim vyakhyāsyāmah. Now therefore, that means to say life is a journey for something. We are looking for something in the life. In fact, if we are not looking for the life, then there is no point in living. It's like the way that a material that is there, it just is there. So the same way that human being is constantly looking for, because he is not satisfied what he is. Something else he needs to do it. It's a natural urge within us. You see somebody doing, let me also try that. Somebody is looking for that, let me also look for that. So we try to continuously pursue. In fact, this is what Friedrich Nietzsche says, that the great thing about human being is he is dissatisfied, so that he continues to work for it. Otherwise, there will be a death. There will be an end. But then, what is the possibility that human being can do? The greatest possibility that human being can be is he can become God himself. That's the highest possibility. So this God, according to the Indian philosophy, I don't know how the English word God has come. What is the basis behind it? But in Indian philosophy, the idea of God is that the highest of your possibilities of manifestation, that's what you call it as God. In fact, you do something and then you see a million times bigger than that. That's what you call it as God. See, Deva, we call it as Deva. So word comes from Divya. Divya is like this, that I have one light, simple light. It gives light to this. I call it as light. It is like one ray of sun. Whereas sun is essentially a million such rays put together. That's what we call it as sun God. A glass of water that we have, it's a glass of water that's there. Trillions of glasses of water, that's why we call it as ocean God. So God is an expression. God is a feeling that is there, and you give an expression to it. Oh my God. We say that. So easily we say that. That means it comes like that. Even the most, a non-believer of God, a total atheist, he will also say, oh my God, like that. So for him also the God is something receiving. If somebody jumps from some place, what you cannot just think of, oh my God, he jumped. See? That means to say basically it's an expression of you are feeling awesome inside. You're feeling extraordinary. That's what is the expression. So God is more than an individual, it's a feeling. And a lot of people, they gave various names like, it's infinite energy, infinite consciousness, etc., etc., all those things. When you give the word called expression like energy or consciousness, it doesn't look to be human. In fact, human being feels respect about the human being, because humanness of the human being is something which is respectful. Like you are in a place where you don't have any human being, suddenly you see some human beings moving around. Wow, there are somebody here. You see, there's somebody here. The moment you see the human being, there's a feeling of connection comes, because the greatest thing that you feel about yourself is the human being. So God, we give an expression of a human being because that we feel that, and like me, I feel connected with that. In fact, that's why Swami Vivekananda said in his Jnana, in his Bhakti Yoga talks, he said that if a fish has to imagine God, imagines like a huge fish, like that, because that it can feel that connectedness. So it's not just only the God that's important that I imagine, but I feel connected with that. That's why I have that God is supposed to be a human being. So, like for example, a ordinary housewife will have 2 hands, so she can imagine God to be Durga with 10 hands. Always thinks, if I could have 2 more hands, I can do something more. So it is like our imagination, projection, then we feel nice about it, we rise. And this way, of all these things that we have, there are certain things which you really feel attached, connected, etc., and challenging much more than anything else, is the idea of compassion, is idea of love. Like for example, I can show 1 unit of compassion, but I can see somebody who is showing 1,000,000 units of compassion. Then I feel he is God, she is God. Similarly, I see somebody, I can show 1 unit of love, whereas somebody, I can see that 1,000,000 units of love, like a Mother Teresa, that she could just give her love to everyone. Oh, it looks like God. In fact, I happened to have a retreat, attended a retreat with Dalai Lama, one of the most astonishing persons of this particular century. And then I was with him, we were about 10-15 of us, and having nice discussions. And because it's a close circle, somebody asked Dalai Lama that, look, Chinese have thrown away all these Tibetans from their place and all that. So how do you feel about Chinese? I thought even in that close circle he could have easily become angry or negative. But look at, even at that state, in that state, all that he had was only love. So the harshest that he said about the Chinese is, I wish one day they will also understand. That's all he said. Oh, that is something so unique about him. When you have come across something like that, you feel God. So God, is that what you feel? Your own possibility. And because of that we try to become. And unless until we become that, we will not be satisfied. Thank God that we are not satisfied, so that we continue this journey. That makes a sense of athato. Atha, now therefore. Then let's go to bhakti. Now he says, come on, let's go to the bhakti. What do you mean by bhakti? Immediately the description goes, this definition of bhakti goes. That is satvasmin parama prema rupaha. Many translations, even the book, they say, your parama prema, enriched love, ennobled love, supreme love. Parama means all those things. Para means beyond. So that means to say, I have love, and this is ennobled, enriched, 1,000,000 times love. Or fully ripened love. That means there is nothing beyond that. Parama prema rupaha. There is no word called God there. But then most of the translators, they added this word. Your supreme love for God. That's what is bhakti. I had an objection. I had a problem with that because I didn't find that word there. Twasmin parama prema rupa. That means to say, Bhakti is that which is the supreme state of love or supreme experience of love. That's what he says. Now, but then why did they, in fact, some people very intelligently put that God into parenthesis, into brackets, so that they said, look, this without this makes no sense, like kind of a thing. But some people openly put it, your supreme love for God. In fact, if you go to Hare Krishna, ISKCON translation, your supreme love for Krishna is Bhakti. They directly put the name of Krishna. It's their choice. Why there is an objection? Because the moment that you bring in God, that means if you bring in Krishna, that means you are limiting Bhakti Yoga to only Krishna followers. Your supreme love for God, if God is Rama, then it is not Bhakti. If it is Krishna only, it is Bhakti. That's how people take it. But the moment that if you think about supreme love for God, even that also limits you to the people who are theist and non-theist, atheist. It will not apply. That means to say, basically you have to believe in God. You have to have a premises that you believe in God. Then your supreme love for God. That means to say, the whole population atheists that you are avoiding it. Yoga is not something which cannot be applied to cannot be applied to universally. So I should be able to take the theist and atheist into that fold. Like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he used to come there. What's his name? I forgot. He was an atheist. And then he came to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he argued, right, left and all, said God is not there, everything is science, matter, it's energy and this and that. He saw, for an hour he gave a talk, big talk, and everybody was mesmerized. And Thakur, he came to him and then gave him a hug. He said, yes, I believe in God. Now I believe in God much more. I told that God is not there. That's what I said. He said, after hearing all these things, you say that you believe in God. What is the proof? Then Ramakrishna said, you are the proof. Such a wonderful, brilliant intellect, only God can create. You are the proof. So, like that. So, it's a feeling. That's what important. So, how can you convince somebody who is an atheist, doesn't believe in, also can have bhakti as a method? Because it's universal. Like Raja Yoga cannot apply to this, cannot apply to that. It's not like that. Karma Yoga, it can apply to everybody. Same way, Bhakti Yoga should also apply. So naturally, the God concept is not important there. What is more important thing is that let us try to look at the word as it is, as Narada gives it. Narada has been very wise in that sense. He did not bring in God. Otherwise, it's so easy to add one more sentence there. But one more little word there, but he did not. Why? There's another important aspect is if I say that forget about the supreme love, your ordinary love for God, if I say that first of all you show me God, then I love God. See, how can I love something which I do not know? If I ask you, do you love mango? I mean, you have never known mango, you have never tasted it. Like in China, there's a very famous fruit. I don't know, anybody has gone to durian.
Looks like jackfruit.
It smells bad.
Just like?
They think it smells very bad. They don't let you take the fruit and...
If you cut durian in China, in India it smells. It's like that. If you cut the durian in China, it smells in India.
Looks
Today
like
if you cut it...
jackfruit, but it doesn't taste like jackfruit.
Very close.
It tastes wonderful, that's all right. But then, if you... So somebody asked me first day that, do you like durian? I don't even know what durian. How can I like it? You see, in the first place. But here, we have some people who know what is durian. So what you do not know, like or dislike does not come into the picture. Love or not love does not come into the picture. See, that's why first of all you ask the question. So, First of all, I don't know what God is. Then how can I love? How can I say I love God? I don't know whether by loving God, if it is going to be troublesome, then why should I love God? If you're happy, you're good, that's fine. First of all, you don't even know whether God is he or she or it. How can I love God? Like if I ask you to love somebody in Timbuktu, you say, hey, how can I love somebody in Timbuktu? At least let me have a Facebook address and email contact and then have some pictures and all that. Then only I can love. So I cannot love somebody who I don't know. A Pope, when he died, he straight rushed to heaven because he wanted to see God. And then, like what we have, the Chitragupta, they're sitting there also. Saint Peter is sitting there. And they say, wait a minute, God is busy. Now I want to see him. Immediately became alert. He said, 1 minute. Before you see God, let me explain few things to you about God. He said, what is that? Tell me urgently. He said, first thing is, he is not he. God is she. Finish. Now this fellow is half dead. Now he says, and another thing is, God is not white. God is black. Okay? The Pope has now his, and you might go there and you might be confused because her eyes, one eye is looking on this side, another eye is looking on this side. You see, look at everything. We have a picture. Not that God is there. You have a picture. So I don't even know what God is. So how can I love him? So I cannot introduce bhakti. First of all, I don't even understand your love for God. I can't even understand what is called as now supreme love for God. Because this is one step ahead. I should introduce a term called bhakti based on the basis of some term which you are already familiar with. And what is the term that we are familiar with? Love we are all familiar with. You see, love, we all have that gone through the experience of love. Brother's love, sister's love, or parents' love. Once I was giving a talk in China. I said, parents' love, brother's love, sister love, uncle's love, aunt's love and all. They are looking at my face confused. Then I realized that they have only one child per family. Then they don't have anything like brother's love or sister's love. And once that is not there, then uncle, aunt and all that, nothing is there. Wow, what a big gap that is there. Whereas we have such a wonderful thing, like next door neighbor, you just go and auntie, can you give me this, like that, we easily become like uncle and aunt and all that. These days in Bangalore, all these, multi-storied apartment houses, you have hundreds of aunties and uncles. It's the richness of India. All that. So you have love of so many people, so many ways that you experience love. So I know what is love. Now please tell me, what do you mean by supreme love? See? A noble love. Enriched. I understand what love is. Now tell me, bhakti means enriched love, a ripened love. What do you mean by this ripened love? What is meant by the supreme love? Because love is something that we all know. Every child knows what love is. In fact, the child is born, second day itself looks at your face, throws a smile at you. Intellect is not yet born, but the child has already emotion called love. Compassion, these things are there with the child. Intellect comes much later. Intellect comes only when the child grows to 4 or 5 years. I mean, some do not get anyway, later on also. But then normally it is supposed to be 7, 8 years. That's why when 7, 8 year old child, you say, come on, go and take shower. Why? Because now intellect comes up. So have breakfast. Why? Right? You're supposed to have breakfast. Why? Now we have to go for shopping. Why? This is where you are into the problem now. So this actually intellect comes much later. Emotions are what we are born with. Not only that we have the emotions, even the animals have emotions. If you have a pet dog or a cat, you can see that how much they love. I'm going to have a problem when I go back home because they have 2 dogs. They are not going to leave me for 2 days when I go back. They just tear me into pieces. They love me so much. And these dogs, their love, is unconditional. They don't love you because that you are in. That means to say, love is not born out of intellect. It's not a product of intellect. That's why they don't, you're beautiful or you're smart or you're intelligent and all. Nothing like that. They love you simply. The dog's love is unconditional. It's not based on intellect. Mullah Nasruddin took his dog to the vet and said to the vet, cut off the tail of this dog. Mullah said, why? The vet said to the mullah that, why do you want me to cut off the tail of the dog? The dog is beautiful, the tail looks beautiful, and this particular variety of dogs are always with tail and all that. No. Is there any danger if you cut off the tail of the dog? He said, no, there is no danger. Dog can still survive. But then why do you want me to cut off the tail of the dog? He said, there is a secret between you and me. Don't tell anybody else. Mullah said to the vet. Vet said, what is it? Next month, my mother-in-law is coming home. I would like to remove all the welcome signs in the house. But this dog tail wags, when she comes. I don't want that to be there. Unconditional. Dogs love you, so your mother-in-law also it loves. So this is how love itself is unconditional. Not only the dogs, not only the animals have love, even the plants have love. This is what Jagdish Chandra Bose said, that plants also have love. The more that you approach the plant with love, the plants respond to that. If you have a house plant, touch the plant, hug the plant, talk to the plant every day. So that's how basically I come across everywhere, go to the gardens, board saying that don't touch plants, don't pluck flowers, touch the plant, 5 rupees fine. Very cruel, inhuman. A friend of mine in Hyderabad, he has a garden. That's the only garden I've come across where number of places he put the board saying that please touch my plants, don't forget to touch the plants, they love your touch. Such welcome signs. In fact, the children, the moment that they see those signboards, immediately they go to the plant, hug the plant, kiss the plant, touch the plant and all. Nobody plucks flowers now. Because, you see, the moment that you love the plant, you own the plant. Then where is the question of plucking the flower? They are there. So it's like that. So, essentially, that even the plants love you. Animals love you. In fact, look at the various things. That means to say, wherever there is life, there is love. In fact, in Sanskrit, that's why we have the same word for both animals, for the love and life. Life is called as prana spandana. Love is called as hridaya spandana. In fact, you look at it, even in English, life is supposed to be the motion. That which creates motion is what is life. And then emotion is what is love. You see? They are connected with that. In fact, the word emotion has come from the motion. The moment that you are lively, that's how this emotion word came. And we are all with that, born with that. So, love, compassion, these are the things what we are born with. So naturally we know. Now therefore, tell me what is called as enriched love, ennobled love. But then do you mean to say that your love for God, is it wrong? It's not all that wrong, because love is such an extraordinary thing that you can enrich it, and the fulfillment of that is the experience of God. Your love can raise to that level that you can see God. That's what is basically the idea of asmin satvasmin parama prema rupaha. It makes a sense in that feeling of love, feeling of godliness within that. When the Upanishad teacher is saying that Ishavasyamidam sarvam, he is feeling it. He is not trying to convince you, logically telling you, nothing like that. But it is experience that he has. Our love has that experience. How do you say that love has that experience? And that's what basically Narada Bhakti Sutras talk about it later on. I don't get into all those sutras, but in order to drive home that feeling that what love can do, love has the ability to do. And let me give a small little example that those days, 20 years ago when we started our center in Prashanti, which is away from Bangalore. Of course, earlier it was away from Bangalore, now Bangalore has gone all the way up there. And those days, we used to catch, one bus used to go from city to the village Jigni and then would come back in the morning, and same bus in the evening go and come back. So that only bus, that means to say we have to go only by that bus. So evening bus, I used to come back from office on Friday, then take shower and all that, get nicely, freshly dressed, and then come to the bus stop. The bus is ready, waiting, and then I would rush into the bus. The conductor would recognize me, that he would say, he's going to the ashram, so please come, and then he would provide a nice, wonderful seat. But you know what happens in the rural buses those days? Even till today it is like that. Then there will be 30 seats in the bus, there will be 50 people sitting in the bus, so many hanging and so many this thing and all that, crowded. So naturally everybody has to come and accommodate himself and all that. So this villager who has come to the city in the morning bus and then would have spent the whole day in the city market selling his produce, gathering all kinds of dust, etc., etc. And if he also has a habit of, Agnihotram and all that, so even that smell is also added to that. With all those things, he will get into the bus and he'll sit next to me. Now the problem starts. I'm here, fresh, sophisticated, nicely dressed and all that, and this fellow is smelling and dirty and all that. He sits next to me. I look at him, I have a complaint. Every time I look at him, I have my one more complaint. He's dirty, he's not properly shaven, he's not properly this thing, and he's also smoking. He also talks rash. The more that you look at him, the more complaints. And with all those complaints now, I feel that, shrink. And that fellow sits much more comfortable. Oh my God. Not only that, he invites another friend. Come, sit down here. It's like a hell. And this is not one day story. Every week, Friday, this is the same story. Every time I go there, I face the same thing. 3-4 times I said, what is this? Looks like totally something wrong here, because that fellow is unschooled and he is happy. I am educated, I am unhappy. That fellow is less sophisticated and he is just fine. I am so sophisticated, I am in trouble. Looks like, why am I educated? To be in trouble? You see, I am all sophisticated to be in trouble. I said, no, it may not be something. There must be something else. Then I started looking at it. The more and more the complaints that I have, the more and more misery I have. So the moment that I said that let me rise above the level of complaint, whatever that he is, I can tolerate him. After all, he has to go by the same bus. All that what I require is a bit of a love. Just have a love or compassion for him. All right, poor fellow, let him sit down. It's okay. The moment that I take the attitude of compassion or love, I can tolerate him. All right, he comes and sits next to me. Another 1 hour, that journey. So now, earlier it used to be eternity, that 1 hour journey. Now it becomes, okay, 1 hour, fine. One day, Ramakrishna Paramahansa was teaching to the people who were all sitting there. He said, we must tolerate every religion, every faith. We should have toleration for every faith and every God and all that. As if something hit him on his head, he gets into trance. And when he went into trance, everybody is eagerly waiting that he may be having something which is, he must be something which is important, that message that he has to give. So they're eagerly waiting, and Ramakrishna comes out of his samadhi and says, what did I say? We must tolerate every faith? No, Divine Mother says, we must accept every faith. Then after that, they dispersed, and then whenever they disperse, actually, the moment they come out of Ramakrishna's room, then there's a garden, and then there's a tree, around that there is a platform, and Naren, Vivekananda would sit, and all the others sit around him. He's obviously leader, even when he was a schoolboy. All others were sitting around him. He said, wow, what a wonderful message Thakur has given. They said, what is that message? He said, you also heard. Did he not say it is not to tolerate, it is to accept? What's the big deal? Tolerate and accept, it is one and the same. No, it's not one and the same thing. It's so different, because when we say that he is tolerate, that means essentially you are anyway bad, but I am so good that I tolerate you. It's actually, to tolerate means that you are praising yourself. Whereas the moment I say I accept you, such a big difference. It's not an ego. I accept you. At once you rise above to a different level altogether. So that's what it is. When Vivekananda tried to explain them, they didn't even follow that. And that's what I thought one day. It's not to tolerate, it's important, but I must accept the fellow. You see, villager is after all a villager. He is the way that whatever he is. If I don't accept him the way that he is, I'm in trouble. The only thing that I can accept him is my love can make me to accept. That's what is the power of love. What otherwise cannot be acceptable, your love can make it acceptable. Love makes it wonderful. Love makes it beautiful. That's what is the power of love. The moment that I realize that, when I say, okay, he comes to the bus, with a smile, I say, come on, sit down next to me. I accept him. And then he sits. Now I look at him with acceptance. Now, you see, when I had complaints, I was in suffering. From complaint to tolerate level, my suffering has gone. Now when I accept, there is no question of suffering anymore. Now I can, because I accept him. I talk to him, said, okay, we change the village. Where are you coming from? I'm coming from Nesanur. Oh, Nesanur is farther away. Jigni, you have to walk. Yeah. So every week you come once? No, twice I come. So what do you bring? He says, this vegetable I brought and that. How much money did you make? So you sold everything? I said, yeah, sold everything. But what is that? How much money did you make? Not much. What, 600 rupees? Yeah, I made 600. But you say not much? 600. So, what are you going to do with 600 rupees, Are you going to drink all that 600 rupees? Oh, no. I never drink. I never drink. Hey, last week I saw you sitting in that Shendhi shop there. That was only one time. I haven't even seen him. I just said, that's only one time. So do one thing. Keep 20 rupees for your drink and rest of it you give it to your wife. Okay? Sir, 20 rupees is too small. Can I have 50 rupees? He's requesting me. I have nothing to do with his money. Look at that innocence. See, when you accept, you can develop all this. Now you feel so nice. You appreciate his beauty. Appreciate his simplicity. There's a lot of conversations you can make. Now I can talk to him, he can talk to me. Not only that, now because I'm in a mood of appreciation, his friend is standing there. He says, come on, call your friend, come here. Let's three of us share this place. Wow, I feel much more comfortable now. See, where is my unhappiness? Look at the simple thing. The moment that I rise from the level of complaint to tolerate to accept, my unhappiness goes away. And now that 1 hour travel that from city to Jigni that I come, it looks like 5 minutes because I'm talking to him, we're conversing, and then I ask about movie, pictures, this, that and all that. He talks nicely. Well, many times I make jokes also with them. I said, look, I must pray my pranam to you. I said, no, Babaji, you are a big person. I was one. No. Tomorrow you can also become Prime Minister. Look at Devagowda. He was like you only. He became Prime Minister. Oh, he feels so comfortable. And all that. See, so many things can happen the moment that you accept. But Upanishad sage, he says, your love has a capacity to take you further above. Not only appreciate and not only accept, but to appreciate. Can you appreciate? Yes. If you have an eye to appreciate, however problems may be there, whatever may be the problem, but you can still appreciate things that are there. That's what these great people are great about. They can still appreciate. Rama finished the war and came back, and like such a big celebration that was going on for a month. After 1 month of celebrations, everything calmed down and going on, life is going on a routine. And then Rama alone, he was walking in the palace. He came to a door. He came to a door which was ajar. He just tried to push it open. And from inside the voice came that don't open this door. Please don't open this door. A lady's voice. Rama said, no, I want the door to be opened so that light comes in. Sun, light comes in. Says, that's the reason I don't want you to open this door. I don't want to open this door. Why? When sun shines for everybody? No, but I don't deserve it. This dialogue has a big meaning behind it. I don't deserve it. And Rama opens the door, says, everybody deserves sun. And now he says, what is this, Rama? You still like me? You still love me? Rama says, how can I not love you? When I left Ayodhya, I left behind 4 mothers. And when I came back, I found only 3 of them. Kausalya, Kaikeyi, Sumitra. I could not even ask anybody, where were you? That was Manthara. See, Rama belongs to Surya Vamsha. So naturally, his rays have to fall on her also. She also deserves it. No, I don't deserve it. You still like me because I did so much damage to you. Dad died. You went to the forest for 14 years, everything. No. In fact, Manthara, I love you much more than what I used to do earlier. Now I have even respect for you. Why do you say that? Rama's answer says, what all the things happened in 14 years in the forest? After all, forest is also my kingdom, part of my kingdom. And there were so many rishis doing tapas and all that. And so many demons, they were disturbing the whole tapas. I had to go there. How many demons that I killed? How many sages that I protected there for tapas? And then I heard from them such wonderful words in these 14 years. You can't imagine. And God has that plan for me that I have to go to the forest and take care of that. But He cannot just send me to the forest like that. So He created a story behind it and used you as a bad pawn. He used you as a bad pawn. So you deserve my respect much more now than earlier. Not only respect, not only appreciate, but you can respect. This is what? Rise from the level of complaint to tolerate, to accept, appreciate, respect. Not only that, love can take you further to a level where you can see the divinity. This is what Jesus Christ, when He was crucified, He had that complaint in the beginning. Forgive them all. And that was, why me? I have not done anything wrong. I have not done any injustice. And why me? And that time, He was son of Mary. But next moment He raised to that level, He could see the divinity. He said, forgive them, O Lord. They don't know what they are doing. You can see the divinity in them. And that's when Jesus Christ has become Son of God. The transformation of Son of Mary, becoming Son of God, can only be possible out of love. This is what Narada says. The possibility is there within you that you can see the divinity in the world outside. If you can rise bhakti to that level, Parama Prema, then your love becomes Parama Prema. That's what is bhakti. Then you see God. It's not that you have supreme love for God, but your supreme love makes you to see the world as God. What else is there other than God here? There is no other creator. The whole creation. In fact, God you want to see, you can only see in His creation. Outside His creation you cannot see. But you don't have the eyes to see that divinity. When can you have that eyes to see that? When you can rise your love to a level where it is supreme. Love has an ability for that. That's why basically Sattvasmin, Parama Prema Rupa. The moment that you are in that state of love, in fact, ordinary love itself, a simple experience of love itself, you have an experience, Amrita Swarupacha. You feel you have become life yourself. You say, normally what happens? My hands are living, my legs are living, my body is living, this is living, that living. But you become yourself life itself. That's what is. Amrita, Mrita where not being there. What cannot die? That's what is Amrita, Amrito Bhavat. Labha Puman Amrita Swarupacha, Yallabdva Puman Siddho Bhavati. These are the 3 sutras that are there. Yat Praptyana Kinchit Vanchati, Yallabdva Puman Siddho Bhavati, Amrito Bhavati, Trupto Bhavati. See, these are the 3 things. First stage, Labdva. You have an experience of it. You have a catch up with it. You have just had a glimpse of it. This is what Yallabdva. The moment that you are in the state of glimpse of that, Siddho Bhavati. That means to say, you feel absolutely satisfied. Nothing else that you want. Siddha, what you are doing, you are satisfied. That means to say, Sadhya, end of Sadhya is Siddha. That was Siddho Bhavati. You have a plant, and now the plant gives the rose flower. You feel satisfied. That you got it. Siddho Bhavati, Amrito Bhavati. Here there are 2 different stages he uses this word Amrita. First Amrita is where you feel lively. And second Amrita is nectar-like. The experience is one of nectar. It's satisfying. Amrito Bhavati and then Trupto Bhavati. This idea of Trupti, when you are in that experience, is something which is extraordinary. The concept of Trupti. You see, this Trupto Bhavati, you become yourself satisfied. It's not object-oriented, it is subject-oriented. See, normally, that our experience of Trupti is object-oriented. Our Trupti is dependent on the object. And then only way that you are in touch with the object is through the sensory organ. So Trupti, the experience of satisfaction that we have, is based on the sensory organ. And in order to get that experience of satisfaction, your sensory organ has to have a prerequisite of preparedness. Like for example, if I am really thirsty, then only I can feel the Trupti of getting water. Otherwise, how can water give me Trupti? It cannot give me that satisfaction. I must be really thirsty, then I get the satisfaction with water. Similarly, I'm really hungry, then I can enjoy food. And that too, now, there's another important thing is that there is specification about what kind of food that you get. Then only it gives you satisfaction. You may be hungry, but then you do not get the kind of food that you really like it. Then where is the question of Trupti? I was traveling in Japan. Nowadays, actually in Japan, you can get Indian food any place. But then those days, we have to depend on only Japanese food. All this umeboshi and all those things, So, our organizer knew my difficulty. I'm okay with all those things, but in spite of it, he felt, Raghuramji, now 10 days you will be traveling here, that Yonago, this place, Osaka, Kobe, this and that and all that. And then after that, on such and such a date, you are going to go to Yonago, and Yonago, you will enjoy nice, wonderful Indian food. I know you are looking for Indian food, and then you will get it, because it's already about a month I missed Indian food. So you will get that. And because in Yonago, one of our students, and she is a Maharashtrian, and she lives there, and then I'm going to visit her, and then she will make a nice, wonderful Indian food, and all that. So I was eagerly waiting for that Indian food, and then I went to Yonago. Maharashtrians, whenever there are very special guests come, they make holige, Puran Puli. That's what is a special dish that they make. I don't touch sweets. And then they don't make anything else. I went to her house. She said, I made Puran Poli for you, My God. Anything else? No, nothing else. And that with the day when we make this, we don't make anything else. Where is the question of Trupti? All right, do you have some uppinkai, something like that, so that I can apply? Said, no, we don't have any. What can I do? So you kind of food that you like, and then you are hungry. See how many things that are there. then only that you get tripti. Otherwise you don't get tripti. Particularly if you are diabetic and you are supposed to take sweets and you feel guilty also. Where is tripti? So, all these things. Whereas, and another thing is that if you are hungry, you are looking for food and somebody says, okay, I will play nice wonderful music for you. It doesn't give you satisfaction because it belongs to that particular sensory organ. Because, you might get into that kind of an accident. Sometimes it happens. No, I was in Calcutta. And Calcutta people roll their words, all those things they roll into. So, my friend invited me to their house. Please come to our house for bhojan. I didn't realize. I thought that he's inviting me for dinner, so I was hungry, went to their house. And then we sat down and he was singing bhajan and I said, afterwards the bhojan will come. But then I was so hungry. And then I think you are satisfied. Then I realized what he meant. It was not bhajan, it was not bhojan, it was bhajan. You don't get. Otherwise I enjoy bhajan, not that. I don't. Yeah, it belongs to that particular sensory organ. Stomach was full, I would have enjoyed bhajan. That's a different issue. Whereas, the moment that you are in the state of love, the tripti, the satisfaction that you get, does not belong to one sensory organ. Eyes are satisfied, ears are satisfied, your whole senses satisfy. When the senses satisfy, what happens? You transcend the senses. Like for example, your hunger center is satisfied. Oh, I don't want any more. I am really satisfied. One more puri? No. I am really. That means you transcend that. Similarly, sleep. You are tired, you sleep. When you are satisfied, you wake up from the sleep. That means you transcend that. So what is that where all the senses put together, the center, that's what is mind. And when the mind satisfies, next you go to Atma. That's why in the next sutra he brings about Yallabdha puman stabdo bhavati trupto bhavati Atma Ramo bhavati. That's the only experience. Love is the only experience which takes us towards that particular Atma sthiti. That means to say what is that beyond? This is what Upanishad says that yatra prana mano buddhihi atyantam nopalabhyate. When you transcend prana, manas, buddhi and all those things, then you go to the Atma sthiti. And Atma is something which even the Buddhist jana vicheshtati tam ahu paramam gatim. And that state you are reaching. What you cannot reach by sitting, meditating, doing this, doing that, Savikalp Samadhi, Nirvikalp Samadhi, Savijara Samadhi, all these things are there. Still you feel that you are so far away from the Atma sthiti, Swarupa sthiti. Here you are right away there. Only two cases that we have directly in touch with the Atma sthiti. That's what is the power of love. One is when you are in the deep sleep state, where you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect, nothing is there. Absolutely nothing. And what have you become? You are one with the consciousness, like in the deep sleep state where you don't even realize that you are sleeping. See, normally if you have disturbed sleep state, then you see that you are sleeping. But real good deep sleep state is where you don't even realize that you are sleeping. Like one day I was really very tired when I was in the engineering college. Really tired. And then I was in the classroom and then, lecture was really boring. And then I just put my hand like this on the desk and then closed my eyes for a moment. Just 1 second. I took nap, opened my eyes, surprised because that lecture is gone, next lecture came and gone, third period is gone. Wow, this is what is deep sleep. You don't even realize the time. And that is the state. What have you become? You are one with the Atma yourself. You are one with the Atma. But then there, you don't have any knowledge of it. But consciously, one experience where you are in the state of Atma is when you are in the state of love. That's what is the precious thing about love. Love can take you to that level. But if you do not allow the love to go up, it degenerates. Prema can take you to bhakti easily, Atma sthiti. But prema, if it is degenerated, it becomes kama. It becomes lust. It's up to us what to take it up or bring it down. So all these things that he is talking about is only to see that how we can go to that state. And see, look at what happens when you're in the Atma Sthiti. The things drop off. Intellect drops off, mind drops off, nothing holds on to you. What is so difficult to drop off, becomes so easy. Intellect is such a powerful thing. You can't drop. As if you say that give up, tyaga. Narada did not use the word tyaga. He could have used nirodha swarupa. He could have easily used tyaga swarupa. Why did he not use? Tyaga means what you do. Nirodha is what happens. And this is what in the Upanishad also gives in a very beautiful way. Like the way that when the fruit ripens, it is holding on to the tree, but then it is ready to leave the tree. All that it requires is a small little touch, drops off. Tree is also ready to leave it. Whereas the moment that if it is not ripe, that fruit, you try to pluck it, tree is in trouble, the fruit is in trouble. And that's how basically the ripening is what is important. That means when the non-attachment, tyaga, happens from within, it's not from outside. It happens so much within that you don't even notice that it happens. That's what is nirodha. Nirodha swarupacha. So that nirodhas to sakala loka veda vyaparanyasaha. That's what Narada says beautifully. I have non-attachment, that means I'm not detaching, I'm not running away. Loka vyapara, veda vyapara. What is this? Those two things. One is the loka vyapara, is that I need to take care of a lot of things in the house. I take care of the family, and I take care of the house and all those things. But then this process is going on, but ripening is going on from within. Once the ripening takes place from within, then nirodha happens. I'm still there in the world, taking care of all those things, but it is Padmapatra Vivampasa. The second thing is Veda Vyapara. We have a lot of these activities which you say, you try to do it for the sake of heaven. After die, that thing happens, you go to the heaven. In many cultures, they believe in heaven, you go to the heaven. In our Indian culture, that you come back to in better life and this life and that life. At least you'll be born in America, not in India. All kinds of things people have it. But then, all those things, Veda Vyapa. What is this Veda, this idea? And this is something, whatever that experience that we have in this world, it is what is Loka that we see. And what is that beyond this we can imagine, we can project, that's what is Paraloka. Ihaloka, Paraloka. Ihaloka Vyapara, Loka Vyapara. And then Paraloka Vyapara is Daiva Vyapara. Both these Vyaparas you transcend. That means you are so satisfied, not only in this life, forever that you are satisfied. How to go about this, how we do it, we'll see tomorrow. Stop it here. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.